Today I'll be showing you the new update in Empire Clash. They have added the general skill tree, which consists of three main paths really. This path is just a generic military path that gives you magistrate access and some buffs to your combat, and then this lets you customize your regiment, change your colors and stuff. Now over here, this is a pretty good, these three skills here I'd recommend getting pretty fast. As this will give you double disapprove as a general, which is pretty good. If you have a bad monarch and you want to overthrow him. This right here lets you basically take over the country if you have a big regiment. And I'll explain regiments more later on. But yeah, this is pretty good as well. If you have if you have a good amount of people who disagree with the monarch, you guys could all join a regiment and overthrow the monarch. And this right here lets you get regiments for free if you're in the monarch. Now, on this path, you get more bonuses to your regiment system, letting you get non-military classes in the regiment. So that could be good if you want like a doctor or a hunter or something like that to assist your regiment. This basically lets you have more to 60% health while you're in formation. I'll talk more about formation and why personally I believe it's not really a great system. I have critiques for the formation system. But yeah, I'll talk more about that later in the video. There should be timestamps telling you where you can see what. This lets you recruit down soldiers basically, but you have to pay them. Down enemy soldiers, as long as your team has less soldiers than they do, you'll basically pay for them and they'll join your regiment. And this lets you loot capitals. You'll basically get 25% worth of the loot. So let's say for example someone wants to come to our city, they take it over. The head of the regiment could choose to sack and loot the city, and basically every single item in the shop would be sold for 25% of its actual value, and it would be deposited into the money of the regiment, of the people within the regiment. However, you need to be in a pretty big server. I think at least 20 people. Generally, that's how it works for these types of things. So yeah, you have to be in a mid-tier to a high-end server for it to actually work. And over here, you just get more discipline. Basically, just the standard discipline thing, just like the rest of the military classes. This increases your discipline radius, which is always a good thing to have, because why not? Just why not? There's literally no downside to grabbing this perk here. This will give you more firearm accuracy whilst in formation, which again I'll cover formations later on. This path is basically related to formations, and basically there's a bunch of different types of formations that do specific buffs to certain things and all that. This lets you increase your regiment limit to 10, which is very, very useful when you create regiments. This lets you do supply chains. Basically lets you put weapons and armor in a regiment supply, which I'll show you how to do later on, and how it's very, very good. And yeah, this lets you have a second command, which helps you with the supply and distribution, logistics, and all that. They basically do what you do, and they'll take over if you leave. And yeah, this lets you make your regiment gain more perks and skills as it levels up through veterancy. Whereas yeah, you can basically use the veterancy points to customize and give yourself buffs, information. And this gives you more formation types. That was the skill tree, but the skill tree means nothing on its own. Before we actually have any buffs to our system as general, we have to get a regiment. Now, to get a regiment is quite simple, actually. All you have to do is press P, or press this crown, where you open the overview, politics, economy, this generic tab here. And you want to go over to military. Now, as you can see now, there's a new military and regiment tab. In the regiment tab, you can basically put bids. Right now, you see this 1 minute thing. Right now, there's a 1 minute thing. Now, it'll say right here, your bid. So basically, every general that has the regiment skills unlocked, they can place bids to gain a regiment. Like, basically, become the leader of one of the regiments of the nation. And basically, whenever someone puts a bid, the timer starts ticking down, and whoever bids the most creates the regiment. Now, since I have the skill that lets me, as a monarch, get it for free, because I'm a level 100 general, I can just claim it as a monarch, as you can see, and within 2 seconds, the bid's over, time's over, and boom, I have the regiment. This is the regiment here. And you'll see multiple things, such as veterancy points, kills and deaths, and all that. Then you'll see managed regiment and supplies. I'll cover supplies after. So, managed regiment will essentially let you customize aspects of your regiment. For example, you could change its name. I could call it subscribe or something. And I could type sub. There we go. So now, well, sometimes it's a bit broken at the moment. So what you have to do sometimes is like do it twice. Like that. There we go. Sometimes the name isn't perfectly working. You can additionally change your outfit to there's currently only 3 outfits. There's a default military outfit, and then there's these 2 specialized ones. You could change it. It doesn't really do much. It's just cosmetic. But yeah, then your entire regiment will get this new outfit, which is pretty nice. Now, I'll show you how the regiment system actually works and why it's good. So, veterancy points are earned when your faction members kill people or capture territories. They accumulate veterancy points. And these veterancy points can be used in upgrades for your regiment, basically. So, there's multiple things you can do with these points. You can change specialization, which will essentially cost you... Yeah, they all cost 25 veterancy points. They all do different stuff. For example, this artillery one makes it so you do much more damage with cannons, but you do less damage in general. And you're like really good at like sieging, basically. Skirmishers make it so you're good at like ranged attacks and do more damage with infantry. Anyone could probably one-shot someone with an infantry rifle with this upgrade, as long as they're part of the regiment, which is very, very good. Plus 35 damage, one-shots everyone, I'm pretty sure, as long as they don't have armor. But you'll take more damage in general. You'll just take 25% more damage. These are like ranged regiments, basically. If you want to orient yourself around sniping and being ranged, and you expect not to engage in hand-to-hand combat. Then you have the National Guard, which essentially just boosts your damage on friendly territory, and makes you take less damage in friendly territory, but does the opposite on enemy territory. So it's just for defensive stuff, and it's pretty good, depending on the circumstance. Of course, if you don't have any territory, this will be pretty much useless, as it'll just give you a bunch of debuffs. But yeah. Then you have the Grenadiers, which is some sort of like heavy infantry type thing, where essentially it focuses on grenade damage and armor discipline. Basically, be a tanky division, basically. But your movement speed will be reduced, which can make you vulnerable to snipes, because you'll be much slower to walk. Then you have Berserkers, which is the complete opposite of the Skirmishers, because they physically cannot use guns, but they do more melee damage. So these guys are literally just swords, swords only. You cannot even use an infantry rifle. You cannot even use the bayonet on the infantry rifle. This thing is only good in this circumstance that there's no more guns available. I would personally only take this when there's no more guns available and you just need to go all out melee. We've established that you need, with veteran points, you can change your specialization, and you get these points from killing people. You could also add modifiers to your regiment, which would cost these veteran points. These are the different modifiers. And they all seem pretty good until you read this one line. Information, 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 information. What that essentially means, if you haven't understood by now, is that you won't have this all the time. It's only going to be when you are information. And if you're wondering what being information means, I'll show you right now. So, first of all, you can't really do an formation on your own. You need to have another guy. So, you can invite people to your regiment. One way to do this is you can either have it open, because you can either turn invite only on or off right here. But regardless, you can just invite players here. So these are the people on my team. I'll invite Reed to my regiment. Okay, so as you can see, I have invited Reed to my regiment, and now he's here. And as you can see, Reed just took over Watermill for us, right here. And in case you didn't notice, we had 0 veterancy points prior, and now we have 1. You get 1 veterancy point for every territory you get, and I believe you get either 1 or 2 for every kill you get. And yeah, these accumulate and lets you do that stuff. Here we have Reed, who has met me at Farmstead so I can demonstrate the formation system. So now, You will have brand new if you are the leader of the regiment, you'll have a brand new order tool. This order tool is essentially used to put down formations, basically. And the formations will give you certain buffs. For example, the skirmish formation will give you ranged buffs for shooting in range. So you can put down the formation by left clicking. You can cycle clicking the next thing, so left click, and boom. So now we're in formation. As you can see, we filled part of the formation string. We would need more different people to go to different formations to gain the bonuses. These scale with the more people you have. So essentially now we get part of the bonuses, which should give us better musket accuracy in terms of sieging. And this is pretty useful in certain circumstances. But my main critique about them is that in an actual combat situation, I do not see how they can be very helpful, considering how combat is rarely static, and there's constant movement, and since you're confined to a little tiny box to actually gain the bonuses, in terms of actually launching successful siege, should be very, very unpractical to do it, because let's just say hypothetically I'm trying to siege village, right? So I'd have to take out the orders thing. And then after, I'd have to pick the skirmish formation. First of all, it's hard to align because I have to reopen it every time. And then I'd have to place it here, which is not a good area because I could get sniped by someone from up there. And then I would need people to fall on it and organize and not get shot, which is just generally very impractical to do. It's very, very constraining because you have to quickly go to the orders thing, pick the right formation quickly, then get everyone to line up on the thing, which, by the way, while doing all this, you're still vulnerable to being sniped or attacked melee. You have to get everyone lined up to the formation, everything done super fast, super quickly at the right area. You have to not mess up the formation and all that. It's just generally very, very unpractical to do, that I personally don't see that this feature would be used a lot. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just the one that wouldn't be using this feature a lot. But personally, I don't believe that this is a great implementation of a formation system, as it is far too rigid and constraining to the attacks, basically. The only circumstance I could realistically think of a formation like this would be if you're on the defense and you want a static sniping shot, so like you could get the skirmish formation perchance, and you would put that up there, like on the village walls. Or you're at Witch Tower sniping with a Baker rifle and put the skirmish formation to get an extra accuracy bonus. But generally, besides very, very specific instances, I would not see this being utilized on a repeated scale, as it is very unpractical, especially with offensives. Now, let's say hypothetically, your squad member, or regiment, whatever you want to call them, let's say hypothetically they were to die in combat, whether they be stabbed, shot, or whatever. Let's just say they were to die. Now that your squad member's dead, you can go to the military tab, manage your supplies. First, you have to enter a territory. Well, first of all, your squad member can spawn back on you, as you can see right here. They do not need to spawn in watermill or anything specifically. Secondly, if you go to a territory, like watermill, a territory we own, you could transfer infantry musket, your infantry musket, into your squad supplies. And then, you can give your new spawned person, you can give them the musket that is in your squad stockpile, right here. So I'm going to give it back to Reed as he just died. You give it to him, give supplies, and dude, that ate up one of our supply, but now, as you can see, they just spawned, and they have an infantry musket. And the reason why we have that is because I had given him the infantry musket in the area. So yeah, that's also a pretty cool feature in the new update. It lets you give infantry muskets to people, so they no longer have to fast travel and deal with a bunch of those issues, which is pretty nice. In addition, you could also subsidize your regiment's fast travel, because you don't necessarily need to die to spawn on a person. You could also fast travel to them, which would cost you money. And the way you can do that, you can go manage regiment subsidies, and you can add coins basically, and would let it so your guys can travel for free. So you don't need to bother with an annoying footman complaining about things being too expensive. You can get them all to shut up, by basically subsidizing their travel. But yeah, of course, to do all this stuff, the supplies, fast travel, and respawn, you have to be in a friendly territory, and there is a limit to the amount of like supply you can transfer and all that. However, it is still pretty good, as you could easily regroup your army and basically fix your army supply issues quite easily. But yeah, that's basically the entirety of the update. There isn't much more to cover besides, well, just like actual in practice how they would work. But in general, the only real downside of this update is a removal of the general flag, which I believe removes a part of the game that is centered around asymmetrical warfare, as it is much less easy to do that type of warfare now. In addition, I also feel like the formation system could be better, but it still has its uses in specific circumstances. But yeah. So overall, the update does rework the entirety of how militaries operate generally. And I guess we'll see how this impacts the game and how it's played in the future. But yeah, bye.